a web-based assessment tool I use for on the fly. I want to see what they know right now, right? So I want to see what you guys know by the end of this.
We're still logging in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine. I can do I'll put this as quote unquote lecture. You guys are gonna be quizzed at the end of this. So this is my introduction. Everything in this chest I've had for somewhere around 30 or 40 years. So bear with. It might be dusty, dirty, but this is my entire life right here. This is my introduction. So I expect you to get up and kind of dig through this. That's kind of where we're going. This is a hands-on thing. So I've got everything in here. I've got my original military records. There's a lot of crap that I did, all right? If you want to see that, I was in the Navy. I was a boiler technician. I did 6 years. I've even got old newspapers I've collected. So there's a good one from Times News, and then On the Moon, the Salt Lake Tribune, and then obviously during our time frame, we had the Y2K scare, yeah, and then the next day we made it, you know, big deal, you know, so I thought those were kind of cool. Something my kids will enjoy. So get up, kind of look through some of this stuff, ask questions. You're going to see what's important to me. So dig through some of that, pass it around. I'll keep talking as I dig through this stuff here. This is one of my memorabilia I got. I won a trip to the Richard Petty Speedway. There is a very large man in a stock car. I did 147 miles an hour down on the
That was you on Blue Lake.
No, that was in Las Vegas Speedway. So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty good little trip. So this is another book that my mom had helped us build. It's just family pictures clear back to the early 1900s, you know, so it's dusty, it's real. So this is my introduction to me.
Oh, you're working.
So you can kind of see how instead of just lecturing, right? So the way I use the Kahoot, for instance, is they do their reading assignments. You know, they have to come in and talk the lingo, right? They need to understand HVAC and refrigeration terms. So if they do the reading assignment on the weekend, I don't want them to do a bunch of homework. These guys are working 40 to 80 hours a week. So homework to me is kind of busy work, right? This is homework now. But I use this to direct where I'm going to take the lecture, okay? So what I've done here is basically I've given you a hands-on version of what they would have read over the weekend. And now, if you will, on your Kahoot, where it says play, put the pin number. You'll see I have the Y side here, 497504. You want to play this one?
497.
I'll play it. It's happening, really.
And this is just a cheesy, real quick one I made. And there's some audio that you can hear in the background. It's kind of cheesy, but yeah, just whatever you want. Put your name, but number one, just so you recognize yourself. Sorry, we're already in the Kahoot.
Okay, go.
Huh?
Okay, go.
Yeah, okay, go. And then what you're going to see on my screen is everybody is punched in. I can see your names over here. And none of the other students, you guys are seeing what Samara is going to install, what she's going to put down for answers. Okay? So you guys are playing this Kahoot, and so I'm going to see all of your information, whether you get it right, wrong, indifferent, it doesn't really matter. So long as it directs the rest of my discussion for the rest of the week. That's where I go with this. Okay? So, let's see, we have 12 people, 3, 6, 9.
What is the pin?
What's that?
What is the pin?
497504.
Thank you.
Okay. So these guys are actually interacting with this on their cell phone. So it's a way to use their technology. Or they can get a tablet, they can, laptop, whatever. Sometimes I'll send this stuff home with them over the weekend, and I'll give them a whole week to do this process, because there's some some subjects, like the first week of gas furnaces, for instance, there's a lot of load calculations, gas pipe sizing, the density. There's lots of pages to that homework, and I need them to understand quite a bit of that. A lot of that's going to be on their journeyman exam that they'll take in another 3 years after they're done with me. So they need to understand this stuff. So I'll send it home with them, and they'll do what they call a challenge. This one is just what I do in class. So if I come over here and I hit start, now it's going to ask you 6 questions. I think that's all I put in here. I made it real short and sweet. So see if you guys picked up on some stuff. So that being said,
No time for
math is now ahead. Melissa, you're in second place. So, you can see this kind of becomes a little bit of a game. It kind of gets them engaged with each other. And so when I'm using this in my classroom, I let them do this open book, and they can BS with each other. I want them to engage with each other to answer these questions. I don't necessarily care that they can write out all the Dalton's Law, Boyle's Law, Charles' Law, but I need them to understand those laws in some kind of form. Just real quick, down and dirty, so they can get out and get into the lab and start using those laws. Okay.
Is it hard to create a quiz?
No, this took me about 10 minutes last night. So what was my job in the military? The red is machinist mate, the blue is electrician's mate, the tan is a yeoman, and green is a boiler technician. What do you think I was?
We're green.
You told us a boiler technician.
I did. But you might not have seen that in all of this stuff. So I said it one time in the class. If you were listening, great. If you saw it one time in your reading, you might have missed that piece. So we're going to see, all of you were listening very well, thanks. Okay, so it just makes my lecture that much. I don't have to sit up here and talk. I can go out in the lab and get dirty. That's where I like to be. Get dirty with them, tear parts. Okay, so how many years total did I wrestle? This is one I really didn't talk about. You got to have to kind of dissimulate some of the information from this pack. So red's 10 years, blue's 13, the yellow is 6, and the green is 20.
Technology.
So most of you got that right. Only one of you got that right. 13 years. Yeah. I wrestled from 3rd grade through 3 years in the Navy. I never actually told you that part. Some of you, like Ben and Yana, they probably would have known that from interaction with me. I was hoping one of them would have been here to get more of that right. But it's the idea. Now I've got somewhere I go. So Wiley Dawes picked me up in 3rd grade from my house every summer from 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade to wrestle. I was a poor kid. I didn't know anything. I was just, he took me to wrestling practice. And he worked with me all the way through high school. And then turns out when I got in the Navy has a wrestling team. I was a pretty good wrestler. They put me on the Navy wrestling team. Yeah, that kind of, you can see the cauliflower ear and the broken nose. That kind of ruined me a little bit. But, so next question. And what's the name of the boat that I was on? Did any of you notice that? Okay. So red is USS Enterprise, blue is USS Nimitz, yellow is USS Ronald Reagan, and green is the USS Hornet. And if any of you put that, we got to talk. All right, so most of you got that right. I was on the USS Nimitz, CVN 68 out of Bremerton, Washington. I did 2 tours in the Persian Gulf, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Desert Watch. That's what we were there for. So going through the Straits of Hormuz and watching the Iranian and the Saudi Arabian missiles shut down. That was pretty big. They have big missiles right across this ocean of each other. It's kind of neat. Anyway. And then, I think this is the last one. Of all things about what do you think is the most important to me? So red is my wrestling and sports, blue is my Boy Scouts, yellow is my Navy experience, or green. my girls.
That's
That's
easy.
hard. Including your wife, right?
Yes.
That's-
You didn't list your finger.
So I have
That would have been
a.
uncomfortable if it didn't.
I have quite a few pictures. I don't know, I didn't really talk about my girls much, but this by far is my favorite pictures of my girls right here. These when they were younger.
Girls, I think you meant your lovers.
Easy. So, and then this is another one. This is with a couple of my daughter's adopted. I've adopted them. They're the best friends. They're always living at my house. So these are just two of my favorite pictures, and they're my favorite thing in the world. So, out of all this stuff,
Which one did Michelle Critchfield save that day?
the blonde, the one that's working here on campus now. She's a painter, so she has a part-time job with us. So, yeah, that was pretty good. So anyhow, instead of getting up and just wah, 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 and tuning them out, you know, I know there's studies done. We've got 8 seconds of keeping their interest, right, because of Tinder. I don't even know what Tinder is. And so, you know, I mean, they're flipping and flopping and doing things on their phone. Well, let's use their phone for something that we can engage in. So if they can, for me, this has turned their homework, and I've had guys from 18 and 55 that just love this. My 55-year-old guys absolutely love this. So that being said, that's the Kahoot. It's real simple, it's easy. The part that I'm using is limited to number of characters in a question or an answer, so I have not bought into the whole program.